I finally did it. I finally pulled the trigger on a Steam Deck. This is the OLED. I ordered it, I think it was 2 days after Christmas, so on the 27th. It's currently the 30th, so it came in literally 3 days. It is the 1 terabyte, not the limited edition. I'm probably in the minority here. I don't like the limited edition. In fact, I'm just not a big fan of limited edition handhelds in general because like if it breaks or something, I just want to get an exact replacement of that. Like I've owned limited edition, Switches and stuff, and I just never main them at all. And I also have some accessories that I've purchased for it coming as well, and we'll be opening those up. That's a really nice box. Your games in a whole new light. In a test chamber. Oh, on the couch, yep, pretty much me. I believe this right here is the charger, which is actually one of the accessories that I picked up because I've always just been used whatever charger comes with your device, and I didn't really have a 45 watt. Apparently this is longer than the non-OLED, so we'll set that off to the side. And let me know if you all like this where I'm talking while I'm doing the unboxing, or if you all prefer the, my first few unboxings that I've done. And how do I get this off without absolutely destroying this? There is a pull tab right there though. And it looks like this box had some of like the instructions and everything, which we're not gonna read. Apparently back here we do get a little carrying pouch for our charger. And it does have a little slot back here that it can go into. I think I actually have to cut this off. That was back and forth whether I wanted to get the 1 terabyte or the 512 because storage upgrades, very easy, especially if you have literally any, even if you don't have experience building PCs, but especially if you have experience building PCs, it's very easy to swap the storage. So I didn't care about the storage. However, I wanted the removable liner for a little bit of a slimmer case. I don't know, some people have said that this case is bulky. I mean, I have a Satisfy case, it's the slim case, and it's thicker for sure, but in terms of actual size, that's not bad at all. And this is their slim case too. Of course, this is designed to fit with a grip on, so it is a little bit bigger than if you just like went on Amazon and got just one that's just gonna hold the Switch. This isn't too bad at all, but it comes with a removable liner which slims it down even more. I've seen some people say that they're not a fan of that. I guess we'll just have to see. Looks like we got something there to where we could lock it. And the other thing about the 1 terabyte, oh, well, that's really secure. And the other thing about the 1 terabyte, besides the removable liner, and of course the storage, is that it has an etched screen. Wow, this thing is big. This thing is big. It has the etched screen, which I know y'all can't see it, but there's an LG OLED right there. So I'm a fan of glossy OLEDs. I love this. And, I've never had an OLED that isn't glossy, so I'm just gonna have to see how it is. However, the screen protector I have coming in is a clear one, so that will completely mitigate the etched look. But from what I've seen, the etched look actually does add a almost anti-aliasing like effect. But if you put the screen protector on, then you get those more inky blacks. But we're just gonna have to see. Wow, this feels a lot, oh, it's cold. You see how cold it is? Fingerprints. This is light, 438 grams. I'm not putting any pressure into it. It's a few extra 100 grams. It feels about the same, honestly. So now, let's see what else is in here. We get a cleaning cloth, and how does this remove itself, like the liner? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, I can kind of see why people might not like this. I mean, it does slim it down a ton. I can see why, because it has all this exposed stuff right here. This isn't bad at all. This is definitely slimmer than my Satisfy. So the OLED no longer has the white thumbsticks. It has the orange power button, if it'll focus. Yeah, there we go. And I think that's about it for physical differences. Let's go ahead and let's do a first boot. Live on camera. Oh. And I think it has like a special startup screen or something. Oh wow. Looks like it came with like 70% battery. That's apparently another thing about this, is it has better battery life, has better thermals. It's a little bit lighter than the last one. It went from like a 7 nanometer to a 6 nanometer. Faster RAM apparently to accommodate that. Apparently the screen, the bezels, it definitely looks a lot better than the original Steam Deck did. They were just so chunky. Let's just do it on camera. Oh my God, I was so used to the Switch that I instinctively pressed this. Connection successful. Oh wow, 2 minutes. All right, so we'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, so we're gonna sign in real quick. There we go. Before you start playing, let's take a quick tour of the device. Press or tap any button on the screen to continue. Oh, look at that. All my games are already up here. So the ones with the green check can 100% be played. The ones with yellow are a maybe. All right, so I'm gonna work on getting some of these installed. Looks like we do need to have some updates. Okay, so we're gonna get that done and I'll be back once I got some games on it. And we are back. Now, I originally recorded my first impressions a few hours after the last clip, but that just wasn't enough time to form any meaningful impressions or opinions in my opinion. But now that I've had it for almost a week, I definitely have some thoughts. So the very first thing I noticed was the setup, and you all kind of saw this as well, and just the overall UI navigation is as seamless as I've seen other people mention, in comparison to other PC handhelds, that is. You don't have to deal with Windows 11 or installing a bunch of different launchers, assuming all your games are on Steam. It really is just plug and play. Like, you sign in, and you don't even have to use the keyboard. You just use your app on your phone. You scan the QR code, you sign in, and then all your games are right there. You just press, if I go to a game that I haven't downloaded, press that, press install, wait for it to install, and then press play. However, speaking of games and installing games, this leads me into my only real complaint. And I think it's just a me thing. I think I'm just dealing with a technical issue or a bug or something. But I cannot, for the life of me, get my deck to recognize my dock's Ethernet, which is a CalDigit TS4. So if you have that and you've been able to get it to work, then let me know. But I plug it in via the USB-C and it immediately recognizes the keyboard, the mouse, the SD cards that are connected to the dock. It's great, but not my Ethernet. It even recognizes my display and auto does the aspect and the resolution. It's great, just no Ethernet. And without my Ethernet, I'm only getting around 250 to 300 megabits per second. If I could get my Ethernet to work, then I would get my full gig speed. Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, took 2+ hours to download. I know that the new OLEDs have 6E, so maybe it's just time for me to upgrade my router. Next is how it feels in the hand. Because it's so much bigger than my Switch OLED, and the Switch causing my old man hands to cramp after an hour, I thought this would be even worse, but I could not be more wrong. The way the deck is designed for your hands to kind of wrap around actually mimics what my Switch grip does in terms of ergonomics. The Switch with no grip, we all know how that feels, but with a grip, allows your hands to wrap around. The Steam Deck already does that. No grip required. And with my Switch in its grip, it's actually about the same size and weight of the deck. Now, I also want to mention button layout because looking at it online, it looks weird. When I first saw this, all these buttons and trackpads and everything, it looked really weird, but I got used to it within 5 minutes. I don't struggle with hitting any of the front buttons. However, I do find myself using the left trackpad here as a D-pad. And I think that's just because the D-pad is underneath the left thumbstick on the Switch, and that's just what I'm used to. Apparently, there's a lot more things these trackpads can do, and a lot of people actually buy the Steam Deck because of the trackpads, but for right now, I'm really only using the left one. Now, as for the back paddles, well, I'm happy that there's 4 of them, but it seems that pushing them on the side, where your fingers naturally rest, takes a lot more force than if you were to push straight on like the flat surface of the back. It's kind of weird to describe, but that is something that I notice. Now you might be wondering why I haven't mentioned the screen yet, and well, in all honesty, it's because it just looks normal to me. I'm very used to OLED screens with my phone, my Switch, my LG TV, so it's definitely a good thing that it looks normal because all those screens I know look great. It pretty much looks identical to my Switch OLED in terms of contrast and colors, but where it differentiates is in the 90 Hz refresh rate and the HDR. Now the 90 Hz is cool, but excluding the home screen, I don't really notice it because none of my games that aren't 10 plus years old or emulations are pushing 90 frames. But I am aware of the smoothness and fluidity increase of a higher Hertz panel, even if running at below what the panel can output. And yeah, everything has been super smooth. The HDR, on the other hand, is something that I notice almost all the time. Like, it gets bright. Like here, just on the menu screen of Spider-Man, it's overexposing here where the sunlight is, simply because it just gets that bright. Now, I'm pretty sure that it's doing a system-wide forced HDR because in games that have HDR as a setting that can be turned on, when turned on, it doesn't look any different. And in older games that don't have an HDR setting, they still look HDR-y just out of the box. Now, what about the games? I mean, the whole reason I bought this thing is for the games. And well, I'm still in that mind-blown phase. Like, the fact that I can play RDR2 on the toilet or Elden Ring in my bed is kind of crazy to me. Are they running at max settings, pushing 90 frames? No, but they are completely playable and enjoyable. Medium settings getting around 40 frames is a-okay to me. In fact, I downloaded COD Ghost, did a campaign run on Veteran, and got all the achievements. No issues whatsoever. And that's an older game, so I really was taking advantage of that higher refresh rate. High settings pushing 70 plus frames. I did put this on Recruit just to kind of show gameplay. Yeah, 70, 80 frames. Even with a lot going on the screen. And if we pause, head into options, some things are on normal, but we are running high on texture resolution, image quality is on high. Now you might have noticed that there are some games that I have here that you definitely can't get on Steam. I got EmuDeck set up the first night, and I'm starting to believe the people saying that the deck is the best emulator. The community support is insane. Installation and setup was super smooth, and pretty much every question that I had already been answered in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, the gaming experience has been fantastic so far. Also want to mention heat, noise, and battery life have been good. The fans are louder and definitely put out more heat than my Switch, but it's not bad at all. And after like 5 minutes, I went tone deaf to the fan noise. Battery life, in comparison to other PC handhelds, has been top tier. I'm getting 2 to 3 hours on average with most modern games, and even more with much older games and emulated games. It can really vary per game, but I'm always getting at least over 2. Now, you might have noticed that my screen is glossy. Yes, I put a screen protector on. I gave the anti-etched glass a fair shot for a few days, but ultimately, I just prefer glossy OLEDs. So knowing now that I prefer glossy over etched, do I regret getting the 1 terabyte considering the etched glass is like half the reason to get it over the 512? And well, not really. From what I've seen online, a 1 terabyte SSD will run you $70 to $80 from a reputable brand, and a 2 terabyte will run you around $150. So 75-ish bucks per terabyte. So that's like 75% of the increased price. Plus, I got the option of having a slimmer case that can be inserted inside of my larger case. And I know that you can buy a third-party slim case for like 20 bucks, but at that point, you're pretty much at that $650. So yeah, it all kind of evens out. Plus, I get a cool startup and a keyboard thing or something like that apparently you get with the 1 terabyte. I purchased a Steam Deck because I began buying single-player games on my PC. Originally, my PC was where I played my multiplayer games at. It's where all my friends were at. It's where I could use a mouse and keyboard and get the high frames and all that good stuff. And my PS5 was for my single-player games. But after rebuilding my PC this past year and seeing how it could run all these new AAA games at high resolutions and frames, I honestly began preferring my PC over my PS5. Plus, Steam games in general are cheaper compared to console. But what I was missing was the comfortability of being on the couch with my feet kicked up. And so far, the deck has solved this while also increasing portability. Buying games on Steam with my PC and now with my Steam Deck has just made Steam my most versatile library. And it's gonna take it just not being available on Steam for me to buy it elsewhere. And even then, I'm still just gonna wait to see if that game will come to Steam. I mentioned that I got a gloss screen protector, and I didn't mention why I did not get a matte one. And it's just because matte screen protectors do tend to decrease quality. So it's probably gonna be at like a 3 to 4, maybe even close to like a 5% decrease and just overall image quality. I had a matte screen protector on my iPhone last year and I took it off and it was like a night and day difference. I'll have this linked below. This is the one that I saw everyone recommending. Besides that, I also did end up picking up, I actually got this like a week ago. I didn't have any 45-watt chargers, and the one that came with the Steam Deck is a non-detachable one. So I ended up getting this. It's the 747. 150 watts, though the USB-Cs can only do up to 100 watt max, but all together can do 150. So like if I'm charging my phone, which I have an iPhone, so it only goes up to like 30 watts, I can get, you know, the full speed on this and my Steam Deck and something else like a watch or a flashlight or something like that. So I picked this up. It's around the size of the actual Steam Deck brick. This is a battery bank that I'm actually not going to open because I ended up getting this one instead. From what I've heard, even though the battery life is better, it's not anything to write home about. Like if you're going out, you're probably gonna wanna take some sort of a battery bank. Oh, and this right here this is normally like $110 and I got it for $70 on Amazon. I'll just link all this stuff below. And then this is the 737, get that peeled off. Mainly got this for the Steam Deck, but also potentially for my Mac and all that. It's actually not that big when you kind of compare it. I mean, it's hefty, but it can definitely fit in my bag. It does USB-C, 86.4 watt hour device. So this should be able to fully charge up the Steam Deck. I'm gonna say close to 2 times. And it also has really fast charging the device. So this right here can be charged up to like 140 watts, like going into this. So this can fully charge in like an hour or less. And then it can output up to 140 watts. Oh, it actually comes with a wire and a pouch. That's nice. This is normally $160. I got it on sale for $90. And then this right here is something I got specifically for the deck whenever I just want to sit on the couch, but it needs to be charged. This is a 10-foot, 240 watt USB-C to C cable. It's braided. I'm actually gonna go ahead and plug this into the deck. And as you can see, it's actually pulling 44.7 watts, which is what the Steam Deck's ready to pull. And it looks like that in 30 minutes, this battery bank will be dead. But we are charging. And I'm just gonna let that sit off to the side. But yeah, this wire is huge. Actually, I went ahead and unboxed it just in case y'all wanted to see. Here it has 2 USB-C ports and it will do up to 60 if it'll focus. It can do up to, I believe, 65 watts, where this one can do up to 140. If you're charging a Steam Deck, then you only got 20 watts left on this port. And plus, I mean, the size, it's already huge. I prefer the size of this over this. Like this just takes up way too much surface area. But this one was on sale for $50. It's normally, I think, $110. I kind of got all these because I've been needing some charging stuff anyway, but also because I want to play this if I'm not next to an outlet, either via the battery bank or via this massive cord. But those are my first impressions along with some day one accessories. If you have any questions for me, drop them below and I'll try my best to answer them, or better yet, let me know any tips you all might have, as this is my first PC handheld. I also stream over on twitch.tv/Jeremiah from time to time. So if you want to stop by and ask me questions in real time, well then there you go. Or you could just tell me how much I suck at whatever video game I'm playing. Up to you. Feel free to subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.